guys, it's me, MissDarizard, and you know what, I'm not gonna waste any time here. We're just gonna jump right into our week 2 highlights of the MissDarizard Draft League. The first match that we're gonna go into is the Friendship Society, coached by Pearly Whirly, against the Dutch Devils, coached by Okan Alagaz. And then right off the rip, what you're gonna see is some really good tech from Okan, using Prankster Tornadus to set rain to block the Aurora Veil from the Alola Ninetales, and then get some really good chip off on the Scizor. Then you're going to see Scizor eat the Scald, thankfully not get the burn for Pearly, and then get some really good damage off with that U-turn. Unfortunately, Landorus just not quite able to get the job finished on the Greninja. Pearly making the smart swap into the Alola Ninetales to allow Hail to finish off the Greninja. Then we're going to see a little bit of standoff between the Manectric and the Landorus once again. Okan making the good read with the Levitate Mischievous to avoid taking any damage from Earth Power. And then we're going to see Pearly go ahead, set up a sub here, you know, trying to get some tech started. We're going to see later exactly what they were going for. Not able to see exactly in that moment. Okan is able to get the Thunder Wave off on the Ninetales, and then Pearly makes the swap into the Fish, and then back into the Xatu to bait the Thunder Wave to bounce it back at the Mischievous. Really smart play there on Pearly's part. And now that the Aurora Veil's out, Xatu is actually able to eat a Hex and then boost a little bit. And now that Pearly has this boost, we're going to see them go ahead and set up another sub, and then baton pass the boosts into the Mega. Really smart play here. Pearly able to recover here, but now that they're in front of a Mega Manectric with Flamethrower, can't really take advantage of those boosts. They go ahead and swap out in a Dragovish, and Dragovish is just ready to feast. Go ahead and takes out this super annoying Pyukumuku. Pyukumuku not going to be an issue this week. The Intimidate helps, but it's not enough to prevent Mischievous from dying here. But the -2 and the speed on Manectric, it just, you know, makes all the difference. Takes out the Dragovish. Rough Skin from Garchomp doing a little bit of chip on the Landorus. Landorus just not able to get it going here. We're going to see Garchomp pick up a couple kills, eat the Earth Power, and then pick up the other kill on the Landorus. Once again, Landorus really not able to get it going, but it doesn't matter because all Pearly really needs to win these matches seems to be Mega Scizor. We're going to see Manectric pick up a kill here. And then the explosion from the Regieleki taking out the Manectric. Didn't seem like Pearly had any way to take out the Manectric. If Pearly had not had explosion on that Regieleki, not sure they're able to pull that one off. But they do, and then Scizor finishes it off. The next match we're going to cover is British Gent versus Jazz. This is hilarious because Gent had Morpeko last season, and Jazz just go ahead and leads with it. Puts Assault Vest with a bunch of support moves, so it just has to struggle, and Gent has to watch his sweet, sweet Morpeko slowly wither away into nothing. But Gent's not gonna take that lightly. He comes out with a vengeance, trying to find a way to go ahead and show Jazz, you know what, if you're gonna make me watch my sweet, sweet Alan die in my face, then I'm gonna make you pay for it. But first, I gotta figure out a way to take out this super chonky Celesteela, because Celesteela really, really threatens to just wall this entire team. Other than that, you know, +3 Thunderfang, which really hurt. But between the recovery with Leftovers and Leech Seed, Gent not really wanting to play the long game there, makes the swap into Seismitoad, who's gonna try and knock off the Leftovers because you really gotta get rid of that healing. Charizard taking massive damage on Stealth Rocks. Charizard does not like Stealth Rocks. Jazz getting 0 value out of the Mega Charizard Y other than setting Sun, which I guess does weaken the Seismitoad a little bit, but you're actually making Venusaur better. Gent smartly bringing Venusaur, saying, you know what, I bet Jazz is going to bring their Mega, and I'm going to be able to take advantage of her Mega by bringing my own Chlorophyll Pokemon, because Venusaur loves Sun. Able to pick up, well, able to do a little bit of damage, you know, threaten, but we don't actually see Venusaur pick up any kills there. They are going to get some really big damage with this Giga Drain off on the Regirock, but it's not quite enough to get it done. And Jazz is doing a really good job here using Protect to preserve as much of her HP on all of her Pokemon as possible. Really smart playing. And then we're going to see the Celesteela come back out and just completely wall the Venusaur. This thing was a tremendous problem for Gent. This exchange here actually takes quite a while. I'm not gonna play this because it seriously just takes forever. What happens essentially is Spiritomb gets an infestation on the Celesteela, but because it's so bulky, like it's basically just like a stalemate. I'm not even sure what happens here other than Gent just basically gives up Spiritomb for minimal damage on the Celesteela. And now that that's over, you see Celesteela picking up the Beast Boost. Finally, Gent able to knock off the leftovers. Takes the Leech Seed, hurries up and gets out of there. Gets a little bit more chip with the Regidraco before it goes and dies. And then it's starting to look really bad. The Steel is now +2 defense. Gent doesn't have any obvious way to kill it. There's a crit getting a kill on the Venusaur. And then out of nowhere, Seismitoad getting the huge crit liquidation to take out Celesteela that seemed like it was just gonna wall his entire team. That crit right there is the definition of a game-changing crit. And then weakness policy, Deoxys defense with a really nice tech. I love seeing weakness policy. I love seeing weakness policy in singles. We see Deoxys defense get some good damage off here on Rock Shiva, but Jazz bringing the Toxic is enough to just slowly wear this, +2 Deoxys down. It is going to take a little bit of time, but does eventually pick up the Toxic kill. There we see the Drain Punch get a little bit of health, but the Toxic is going to tick off and kill off the Deoxys. But now Seismitoad is going to come out and get his revenge for Alan. And Seismitoad picking up 4 major kills, including the game-winning crit in this matchup. The next one we're going to go over is Pry versus Spiga, and this one, whenever you're up against Pry, you just gotta accept that you're gonna be in for a slugfest, because Pry is like, you know what, I'm gonna bring my hard-hitting Pokemon and I'm just gonna try and kill everything. I'm not here to do any switches. I'm here to just come out and do as much damage as possible, and if you're not prepared, you're going to lose. But Spiga's like, you know what, if that's what you want to do, I'm gonna do some strategic swapping here and make you pay for it. Although he does lose Durant for absolutely nothing. This is Gen 8. Steel does not resist Ghost. So it's something to keep in mind for the future. But here, Pry does get this Superior going with some contrary boosts. Does look kind of scary. You gotta think, if Superior is able to pick up that kill on that second Leaf Storm, this might have been a different story, but because Scrafty is able to hang on and get that close combat off, Aegislash is able to come in and pick up the kill with the Shadow Sneak. So that's pretty substantial. We are going to see a little bit of an exchange here, some really good damage on the Aegislash. Aegislash returning the favor with an Air Slash, and then finishing the job off with a priority super effective Stab Shadow Sneak. Oh my goodness, that was a mouthful. Aegislash getting shield mode reactivated, swapping out into the immune swap, and Dugtrio's gonna trap you in here. I mean, if it's arena trap, you're just gonna stay here, but he doesn't stick to that. He goes ahead and swaps back out. Not exactly sure why. I'm pretty sure Tapu Lele was specs there and was gonna be locked in. Probably could have just picked up a kill. Either way, doesn't make a difference. He swapped out. Loses Slowking for basically nothing to the Mega Horn from Horny. Excellent name. Dugtrio picking up another kill, or picking up the kill on Cobalion, and then able to finish off the match thanks to the Focus Sash and finish off the Tapu Lele. And Spiga's able to pick up the win. The next match we'll cover is Squirtle against Minor Manectric. This match was actually a lot of fun. We do see the Golem come in. Squirtle has made really good use of this Golem. I've been pretty surprised so far this year. But this Corviknight is going to come in and set up in his face. And Corviknight is a chonky bird. It's so much to deal with if you let it set up. but apparently had nothing to deal with the Dusclops. Starting to look like an iron defense body press set, and Dusclops kind of just balls that. And look how thick this Dusclops is, just eating these Shadow Balls, slowly wearing down Tapu Fini with the Nightshades. Tapu Fini is able to get some pretty good damage off on it, but it doesn't matter. It lives on 3% and gets all that health back. Imagine doing all that work to try and take that thing out just worth the pain split and get all that health back. And then Miner bringing back the Strength Sap Balloon. This thing is pretty spicy. It's, you know, I've never seen anyone use the Drift Bloom quite like this, and I've really enjoyed seeing the way Miner brings it out and actually utilizes that Strength Sap on every Pokemon that can have it. It's arguably one of the best moves in the game. Able to get up a sub and go +1 on attack and defense, get some major damage off on Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn trying to get some chip up on the Urshifu, but then we see the spicy tech with the speed up berry once you're in a pinch. Curve trying to make a read with the fighting immunity, but then just dies to Wicked Blow. I think maybe he might have forgot about Urshifu's signature move. But then Prim's able to come in, revenge kill, and finish off the Urshifu, getting a major threat off the board. Then Neoligo revenge kills Prim. But then we see a little bit of the Fear Tech. The Endeavor, Kerfungal trying to go for the Fear Tech on Eradicate. Love to see it, but it doesn't really work here because Corviknight is super chunky. Even a quick attack wouldn't have finished off the Corviknight here, and I think Curve recognizes that, going for the knockoff instead, so the leftovers aren't a problem anymore. But Corviknight goes ahead and finishes off the Eradicate, and then finishes off the Ferrothorn. And we're going, and you know what, honestly, like, Corviknight could have been the Pokemon of the week here and if it had picked up 4 kills, but what we're gonna actually see upon swap of the Golem here in a moment, Corviknight's just setting up, which is, I mean, at this point, you gotta feel like you're in pretty bad shape if you're letting the Corviknight go this deep into defense and speed. Big body press on Charizard. Charizard going for the boost, hoping that the Flare Blitz can finish it off, but dies to its own recoil. And the burn is too little too late at this point. Corviknight's able to just finish off the Golem with another body press. Corviknight having a really big week for my Manectric trick this week. The next match is myself versus LA Caveman. Look, I don't want to talk about this match. This one was really rough for me. Kingler doing major damage with an X-Scissor, and then the Rock Slide coverage, also really good. Honestly, like, this was just rough. Wasn't expecting Kingler to live on this. I was prepared for a Hurricane, just a one-shot Kingler, but he must have ran special defense investment, and it's able to live and finish off my bird. And then we do a little bit of swapping here, trying to preserve the game, even though we already lost our Mega. Get some good burns off on the Gigalith with a Will-O-Wisp. And then change the weather with a Rain Dance, with Prankster Rain Dance. We got to make sure we maintain weather control. Do not want to go up against an Excadrill and Sand. That is bad news. But now that my Pidgeot's gone, LA is able to set up rocks. I don't have a Defogger at this point, so I got to deal with those for the whole game. Try to get this Dazzling Gleam off to kill the Como-O, but he makes the good swap into the Sylveon. I read the Mystical Fire and swap into Heatran, who gets the Flash Fire boost. Not that it makes a difference because it's raining, but then I'm able to get another burn off on the Como-O, which should make a big difference, right? Wrong. Enjoy this freeze, bitch. And this basically was just the story of the game for me. Once Tapu Bulu got this freeze, I got so frustrated and tilted, I kind of just threw from here because I needed to preserve Selkie to deal with Excadrill, and I did not do that, and I just let it die to this Como-O here for basically nothing, just for a little chip on the Como-O. But the problem was, once my Tapu Bulu was frozen, I had no, like, surefire way to deal with the Como-O other than my Dragapult, which I completely forgot existed. Complete misplay on my part. LA Caveman honestly just outplayed me this week, and it was just a freeze. Once the freeze happened, I got super tilted and just stopped thinking clearly, and LA was able to take advantage of that and just slowly wear my team down. There you see the crit Stone Edge. I was upset about that while we were playing, but Stone Edge has a high crit ratio, so that wasn't out of the normal, or that wasn't like out of ordinary or anything like that. That was something that just happens. If Stone Edge hits, there's a high chance it's gonna crit. That's just how Stone Edge works. At this point, I'm kind of just freaking out. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, there's nothing you really can do at this point. You can Earth Power and finally finish off this Gigalith, but Excadrill is going to come in and finish the job, and that's exactly what happens. Also, I appreciate the King of the Hill naming theme LA. I did notice that. And then the final match this week that we're going to cover is Sgt Mack versus Godbear. And oh my goodness, this game was spicy. Right off the bat, we're going to see the Mamoswine set up rocks, and then God go immediately in Klefki with Prankster to set up some more spikes and just be generally annoying. We see the Wish swap into Cinderace, who gets all that health back despite the hazards. And then we see the court change tech. So awesome. You never get to see it, but you get to see it here. Sgt Mack basically going, I'm gonna let you set up these hazards because I'm going to use them against you, and that's exactly what he does. And those hazards ended up making all the difference in this game, as we're gonna see it go on. Every little bit of chip ends up making a difference. But then we see this Manaphy start to set up, and it gets kind of scary. A Side Shock, the Manaphy just eats the Side Shock, does not care. This burn, the synchronized burn does actually help. I feel like in this situation, Godbear doesn't want the burn on the Scald because that chip can be annoying. It kind of neutralizes the leftovers, you know? So you're basically no item at this point. But then Kitty living another Side Shock, not one, but two. The sub lives through two Side Shocks. So at this point, it's looking really scary. How is Sgt Mack gonna break through this sub and break through all these boosts? Oh, I know. How about my Mega Kangaskhan with a broken seismic toss? That's exactly what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and break that sub really quick. And if you leave this Pokemon out, you're gonna lose that too. So what's Godbear do? Well, you know what? I expected your Mega Kangaskhan, so I brought a Rocky Helmet Pokemon. And now you're going to lose your Mega for basically nothing, because this thing has Regenerator and it's going to get all this health back anyways. So Mack immediately goes into Mew to try and put a little bit of pressure on, so Godbear's got to swap out. We see some Side Shock chip there, and then swap into Audino to eat the knockoff. Does lose its Rocky Helmet. But then Endeavor brings it down, and that we're actually going to see after this Heal Bell, which is important. We're going to see a Protect for a Scout out the Ice Shard, and then a Knockoff crit, which is going to finish off the Audino, which is a big loss for Sgt Mack. But then he brings out the Cinderace, able to finish off the Mamoswine, and then we're going to see some big damage from Fake Out from Ariana the Mega Lopunny. Oh, great name for a Mega Lopunny. Sucker Punch for some chip because you're at 10% damage. There's no reason to swap out. You're just going to die to spikes anyways. And Sgt Mack finally brings out the Jolteon. The Jolteon is going to go for the quick attack here to try and finish off the Jolteon, but they swap and take some Rocky Helmet damage. And then Sgt Mack swaps into Type Null, recognizing, you know what, Type Null is not really a win con for me at this point. If you put the Type Null to sleep, I don't really care. That's fine. And then we have the Showdown Part 2 of Manaphy versus Mew. But this time, Manaphy is not going to be the winner, as we're going to see Mew's going to slowly wear this thing down. Yeah, it does happen here. We actually see a Side Shock crit, not right now, but after a couple turns here. It was a big crit, but I'm not sure that it mattered in the long run. There were multiple ways for Mech to deal with that thing at this point, and I'm not entirely sure that that crit made a difference. Jolteon dies to hazards, and at this point, it's just Mew slowly walking down the rest of the team, just killing everything. There is going to be one more super notable thing that happens here, and it's Mew living a stab Mega Lopunny Giga Impact and says, alright, well, you get to die now. Thanks for playing. And then Mew finishes it off by killing and finishing off the Amoonguss. So the next thing we'll talk about are the standings for the league this year. I did not do this in the last video, completely slipped my mind, so John, thank you for the reminder. So this is what things are looking like right now. In the Venusaur division, early in the season, again, we're only 2 weeks in, we see Friendship Society jumping out to an early lead, still undefeated, with a 5-point differential, looking really solid. In the Charizard division, that is led by the Norfolk Kinglers at 2-0. after a big win against myself. Also with a 5-point differential, they are tied for the best record in the league. Again, it is early, so a lot could change, but they're both looking really strong really early. And then in the Blastoise division, you have 3 teams all at 1-1 between the Fairbanks Phalanx, the Newbark Normalizers, and the Lucknow Latte Guzzlers. The only difference between those 3 right now are the differential. Fairbanks Phalanx with a differential of 2, Newbark Normalizers at even, and Lucknow Latte Guzzlers at -2. It'll be interesting to see how these standings rearrange themselves after week 3. Finally, we will go to the Pokemon of the week, and that will be Seismitoad. Seismitoad had a huge week this week for the Belper Bewares. I mean, that crit on the Celesteela was the game-saving play. There's the reason Gent was able to come back and win that, all because of that crit liquidation. And then Seismitoad able to pick up a total of 4 kills. Just a really, really good week for the Seismitoad. Love to see it. Love to see a non-S or A tier Pokemon get Pokemon of the week. It's always fun. So yeah, I think this is a fun one. And that does it for coverage on week 2. Lots of exciting stuff, some really fun matches. And I'm excited to see how week 3 turns out. So I'll be doing that video again probably next Sunday like I usually do. And yeah, that's going to do it for me here. So, for hanging out, y'all. Have a good one.